are no sacred laws, no divine rules. I choose what is right. I hold the power. And I choose to bless all beings everywhere with anarchy.
Ooh, boy. Havoc really put his foot in that, didn't he? Like, bro, I don't know who Havoc's voice actor is, but bro, he did his thing on this part, bro. I ain't gonna lie, he sounds so good, dude. But anyways, guys, my name is Cyrax, and we're back with another Mortal Kombat 1 video. So, in this video, we're gonna be doing a breakdown of the trailer. And I'm not gonna lie, I probably watched this trailer like maybe like 30 or 40 times. There's so much going on in the trailer. I felt like I needed to watch it that many times just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And honestly, like, this trailer, there's so much stuff going on. Like, I can't wait to dive in. I made a whole ass list of the things that I've seen in the trailer that I have questions to, or things that I noticed. Okay, we're gonna break this apart scene by scene and just like kind of just talk about what we see going on in it, and just basically just talk about the list that I have here, right? Okay, so let's jump in with the first scene.
There are no sacred laws, no divine rules. I choose what is right. I hold the power. And I choose to bless all beings everywhere with anarchy.
It's nice to see the chaotic Havoc that we grew up with. So, starting off the scene, obviously we see Sector and Cyrax leading Melina, Johnny, and Scorpion down this into the Chaos realm. It looked like, and honestly, like, Sector and Cyrax are walking behind them, and like it doesn't really seem like they have the fighters against their will. More like they're trying to explain what's going on with basically the Lin Kuei after the defeat of Shang Tsung, and like what happened to Bihan, and like where is he and why is he not with Cyrax and Sector right now. That's just like the vibe I'm getting from it. Like, and just the line, there are no sacred laws, no divine rules. Obviously he's referring to the Mortal Kombat tournament where like you had to get 10 wins in order to conquer a realm. Like, this is like the abolishment of the Mortal Kombat, it seems like, with what Havoc is talking about. And with Havoc being a Titan, he could do that. He can get rid of the rules of Mortal Kombat and just have every realm just being chaos, fighting with each other. And that's probably like where his timeline is now. Like, everyone's in chaos. It's just everything's chaotic. So like that's kind of like the vibe I'm getting from this trailer, just as we're starting it.
This new Havoc is different from ours. He doesn't want freedom. He wants to burn everything down.
So that first part there, right? We'll go to Geras first. So let's just talk about Geras, right? So somehow Geras has been abducted here. Now, there's only two main ways I can see Geras getting abducted. The first way is that he caught him off guard where he was. Basically, he more than likely was at the hourglass, defending the hourglass like he normally does, but maybe he got caught off guard and they ambushed him and they took him away by force that way. Or perhaps there was a fight, and during the fight maybe Geras got knocked unconscious, or he was knocked out for a few seconds and they captured him and they took him back to like the Chaos realm. So that's what I could see this kind of happen there. I think that it's a possibility, and it looks like they're pumping him with something. So maybe that's like the chaos agent they try and pump into Sub-Zero, term the noob. I don't think it works on Geras, which is why like later in the trailer we see him fighting. And like just looking at Bihan's face, he doesn't look like he's abducted here. It looks like Bihan is actually there because he wants more power, and the message that he's using is just foreign to him, so it makes him like feel a little uncomfortable. I think that's what's going on here, because obviously, you know, you're not capturing Bihan without a fight. And, you know, I think with the promise of power from Havoc, I think that'd be enough to get Bihan to want to do it. Because obviously, we've already seen in the official story where he betrayed Liu Kang and Kuai Liang and Smoke to get more power with Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. And now he's doing it again. But this time, like, he's joining the chaos and basically becoming Noob Saibot. Like, you know, which is pretty interesting, to say the least. I'll keep what I'm thinking about like for later on in the trailer or in the breakdown.
Down. Let real warriors handle this.
My will is unbreakable.
The future.
So I'm gonna be honest, this scene with Cyrax and Sector, it's really interesting when you think back to like how they were in the original timeline in the beginning, before Cyrax got control of his soul again. So let me mute this for a second so we can talk about it, right? So Sector arrives, right? And this Sector, it doesn't look like the original Sector, right? In terms of like the fighting style, because look, there she punches him in the gun, she knees this guy, and then she punches this guy with an elbow. Well, not really punches, she elbows him. To me, like, this is something that if you know about Mortal Kombat with Sector and the Takunin and basically all of like Sector's lore, you know Sector doesn't pull his punches. Sector is ruthless and he's just like pure evil, and he would never do that. He would kill all of them, like no matter if he's trying to get someone's help or not. Like he would have killed anyone that goes to attack him. So for me, this is already showing the intentions of Sector and Cyrax, that they're not there to abduct Kuai Liang, but to get help from Kuai Liang. That's my guess so far, and just analyzing this first part here. And we see the same thing happen with Cyrax, right? Cyrax does the same thing. She runs up this the ceiling here, and then she jumps down. She drops this guy, kicks this guy, and double kicks these two right here. So to me, like, it doesn't really seem like they're bent on hurting any of the Shiryu or the monks, which I think is interesting because, you know, in the past when it looks like the cybernetics aren't controlling each warrior, so these versions of Cyrax and Sector have their mind and their souls intact. So they're making their own decisions, which I think is interesting, and I kind of like that route, not being enslaved by some kind of protocol through a machine. Like I think that's a pretty sick route, while still keeping the same aesthetics with, you know, the cyborgs. And I know there are going to be people who complain because, you know, they're not men anymore, but it is what it is. Like honestly, as long as the gameplay is solid, I'm fine with whatever. Like maybe just throw a skin on top of them and like let them be able to be played as the original characters. Like I think that's what they'll ultimately do, just because like we've seen it in the past, haven't we, with Injustice, with Flash, where there was a different version of Flash and different version of Cheetah. I think it wasn't the Vixen. They had some kind of skin like that where they changed the voice and they changed the actual character. I think they could do something similar to that. So there is one thing I do want to talk about, and I kind of like, maybe like 2 months ago, I made a video where I was talking about like possible characters that could make it into Mortal Kombat, the Aftermath DLC like type story. So, and one of the characters I was kind of like really talking about was Noob. I felt like Noob was gonna end up coming back, especially if they wanted to advance the story. Like Sub-Zero, there's no way Bihan was gonna stay in Sub-Zero. Like his story has to continue, and his story doesn't continue if he's in Sub-Zero. So the only route that I saw happening was they were gonna make him into Noob Saibot. And I think I also remember saying that I thought Hanzo was gonna be the one to take over for Sub-Zero. Like I feel like in this trailer they're gonna do something to give, maybe in this story they do something to give Hanzo his ability. Like that's what I think is what's gonna happen. I don't see Sub-Zero becoming Noob unless he dies in the Aftermath story. Now this could also be something. Okay, so here's the theory I have, right? If Sub-Zero dies in the story DLC, and he becomes Noob Saibot, who takes on the mantle of Sub-Zero? Because well, Kuai Liang is now a Scorpion, and they've been talking about Hanzo Hasashi being trained. Now, what if Hanzo Hasashi becomes the new Sub-Zero? I think that's gonna happen. So I think that's gonna happen. So I'm gonna put Noob Saibot in the DLC as a playable character. I think that's gonna happen in the story, bro, because like I feel like it almost has to happen just to proceed with the characters coming into the new Mortal Kombat universe. So I see this happening where Noob Saibot ends up becoming Sub-Zero becomes Noob Saibot. I think that process is gonna stay the same. I don't think that's gonna change. where like we see that, and like we don't even know, like I'm gonna be honest, we don't even know how far time skip this is, because like they were at the, if you beat the game with Sub-Zero, you know that they just start working on the cyborgs, right? And in the ending of Scorpion, we see Kuai Liang getting married to Harumi, and I think it's interesting because like when you think about it, like I think there's gonna be a time skip, maybe like a year or two, and basically that's like, you know, we'll see how older Hanzo, we'll see like probably like a Hanzo that's probably like 17, 18 years old, or maybe wait, because he was like, what did they say, he was like 15, 16? I kind of forget. If he's 15, like maybe he'll be like almost 16, 17 years old. So we could even see like a young Hanzo in the actual story, because like we saw a Takeda type character, but I think it was a variation. So I just thought like it was pretty sick. And like also one thing to note is that Noob is not a race. I think he's an agent of chaos, because with all that green stuff on his body and even his attacks, like it's all black and green. Like it's not exactly like, you know, the race from the original OG timeline. But like although his abilities are similar, they're not the same. Like that green goo just kind of gives it away. Like all his attacks have this green aura in them, so maybe that represents like the chaos stuff that he has going on. Oh, hold on, let me unmute it. Go back a little bit.
Future is chaos. All must embrace it.
You sound like Bihan.
I am he. Though not as you remember.
What did Havoc do to you?
He perfected me.
So this is interesting because like this timeline of Bihan is just such a sucker for power, bro. Like he'll do anything to get power to control his own destiny. Like, and I get it. Like, you know, it is what it is. Like mortals are gonna want to like overcome their limits, but he doesn't care who he backstabs and like who he has to betray in order to get the power that he wants. Like, just look at his history so far in Mortal Kombat 1. Okay, he lets his father die so he can gain control of the Lin Kuei, instead of like helping him like he could have. Then he betrays Liu Kang and takes the Lin Kuei away from Kuai Liang and them and the protection of Earthrealm. Now it's gotten to a point where he's even betrayed the Lin Kuei and taken over as Agent of Chaos was Havoc. Because like I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like I don't think the Lin Kuei, like once maybe in the beginning the Lin Kuei was working with them, but then like I think they eventually saw what they were doing and decided that, you know, this is too much, they're gonna destroy the realms. Like that's my guess on like kind of what's going on and why they saw that Cyrax and sectors seeked out Kuai Liang, because obviously Kuai Liang is the rightful heir to the Lin Kuei, since Noob Saibot's not there anymore. And like, you know, I think it's pretty cool too. Like, I don't know if you guys ever play MK9. There is the ending for Noob. I think we see Havoc and Noob working together. So I kind of feel like this is also like a kind of a callback to that, which I think is like pretty sick if that was what their intention was. And what I find interesting about this scene here, right, is
Perfected me.
okay, so this scene here, right? This is Sector here, and this is Cyrax fighting Noob Saibot and his people. So obviously, this is like further proving the point that Sector and Cyrax are not bad guys, but they're actually helping the good guys. So in this timeline, it seems like they're starting off as good guys, and they want to stop Havoc. So maybe they're allies, I should say. They're not complete good guys yet. I think that happens later in the story.
First Shang Tsung, now this Havoc?
So what I think is interesting about like the way Noob was fighting in that part is like the green goo is like all over his attacks, right? So we see all the attacks, like, okay, so he dodges this. His eyes are green on the guy. Obviously all the green and black that's going on in this part. It's pretty sick because like obviously the chaos is having such an impact. Being a part of his character, like they're really like showing off like that this is not the same Noob Saibot that we know. which I think is like pretty sick, and I think that it's really cool. Then we have this next scene here, right, where there is Havoc, and he doesn't have any clothes on. This is probably towards the end part of the story, if I had to guess, because like all the chaotic stuff that's going on in the background, and then like he has like these things in his chest, which, if I'm being honest, if I had to guess, I think they're Kami Dogus. Like, that's my guess. I'm thinking that, and then with Kitana Melina's tone in the trailer, it seems like they're leaning towards some kind of like destruction of, I won't even say destruction, but merge of all the timelines. I think that's what's going on here. Like he wants to merge all the timelines and create chaos among all of them. I think that's what's gonna end up happening to some degree. Maybe they do bring all the timelines together, but they actually also gonna, Liu Kang obviously is gonna win in the story, we know that, and he's gonna make some kind of one singular timeline, so we'll have the OG characters come back. And like I kind of talked about this part in like a older video where I thought that all the timelines eventually could be closed off or like merged together, and even like versions of each character being melded into the prime ones, so that they can like kind of just get rid of the timeline stuff. Like that's kind of like what the route I thought they should take, and so far like I'm kind of getting that vibe. That's what's going on in the trailer, like just the epicness, because like with the Kami Dogus could do this. It could merge the realms.
This will be amusing.
Will the threats...
You know, for being the chosen one in this era, Raiden seems to not be very good. Because if you look back at like how Liu Kang was when he was chosen one, he did not lose fights that we saw anyways. But this Raiden, maybe each chosen one is just different in power. Like obviously I think Raiden is significantly weaker than Liu Kang, because I think Raiden wasn't exactly trained the normal way, with like monks, was living and breathing and just like doing everything a monk did, like the way Liu Kang was. So I think that maybe that has some kind of impact on, you know, the whole chosen one thing. But that's my opinion on it. And I just think it's interesting how like all three of them just got their ass handed to them. And where is it? Right here, like Cyrax looks kind of worried right after this fight. Like just looking at her face here, like she just looks like she's bothered by whatever they were doing. So maybe like this is like right after the first attack. I'll get on the Shiryu, and like maybe she feels bad. And okay, she kind of reminded me of Jackie a little bit in this little scene. But anyways, yeah. So I just think like this is like the first hint we see at like Cyrax like kind of feeling some type of way. And I really like the way this costume, this armor looks. I think I'm gonna go over it in like another video, but for now we're gonna keep on the subject.
Threats from these titans never cease? Tell me, how do we escape this crisis?
I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this scene here with Noob and Scorpion fighting, this gives me chills, dude. Just seeing them go at it with just kicking and punching, no powers, and just throwing hands. It's so fire, dude. This is one of the main things. Okay, this is a good subject I wanted to talk about.
It disgusts me how you've corrupted the Lin Kuei.
Make no mistake, we are here because of your treachery.
So, I don't know if you guys can hear what they're saying at the end. Well, what Cyrax said at the end. Like, it sounds like the audio. It sounds like it's cut, right? Or like not even cut, just like messed with, so you can't understand what they're saying. Because maybe like whatever Cyrax says there is like, I think it's important to the story, so maybe they just kind of cut it so nobody like could like just kind of guess what they're doing with the story. But I'm sure like people will leak what's going on at that part anyways. But then we see like Sector and Cyrax going at it during this part too. So right after this part, we'll mute the volume. They're obviously when they're talking and Scorpion's like, you guys discuss me, da 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 da. Then you just see Cyrax and Sector fighting. Maybe they had a disagreement on like what path they should take, and like Cyrax like maybe knocks some sense into Sector's like, you know, we made a mistake by abandoning Earth's realm. Something like along those lines. Because maybe Cyrax was never okay with not protecting Earth's realm, but did it because she's like loyal to the Lin Kuei. But that's like my idea on like what's going on here. Maybe they'll set up Sector to be like an anti-hero, so that she'll lead the she'll end up leading the Lin Kuei, which I think would be interesting when you consider like how the OG like timeline was, where Sector was the original leader of the Lin Kuei after, you know, he murdered his father, and then Sub-Zero takes the mantle from Sector and like when he kills the Tukun. Oh fuck, I forgot how to say it. The Tukunin, and then taking the mantle of it. Basically, it's like kind of an opposite thing they got going on, where instead of Sub-Zero being the Lin Kuei master, it's actually Sector. That could be another route they take. Oops, I skipped too much.
Make no mistake, we are here because of your treachery.
There will be blood.
What I find interesting about this part here, there will be blood. Now, I don't know if you read the comics or saw the video I posted a few days ago with Takeda. It's basically his backstory. The blood code was like a big factor in the comics. So is this gonna be some kind of like continuation from that? Because like, I mean, it could work. Like, I mean, obviously they're not daggers. Maybe the Kami Dogu are just different in this timeline. So the Kami Dogu are actually like they have blood, and but see, that kind of wouldn't make sense too, because like Raiden would have to be the Thunder God to impale himself with it. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they'll explain why the Kami Dogus are inside his chest and how he knows of the blood code. Because obviously this is the OG Havoc. So this Havoc has been through that. So I mean, he knows of it. So maybe he recreated it in some way. Like, I don't know. Like, I have a lot of questions in terms of like what he means by blood, and like, because like, especially when you read the comics, you know about the blood code and yada yada yada.
Do you like scary movies?
So them having the release date be so early, I think it's pretty awesome. Like, I like the fact that it's only 2 months away, because it really you can really build up the hype, and like with it being so close, bro, like there's so many videos like I'm probably gonna end up making based on this trailer, and just like what if scenarios that I want to just talk about. But like, it's pretty sick that it's only 2 months. Like, okay, so we'll probably not go, because like we kind of already covered the animalities. There's nothing like too crazy to talk about there. Obviously the characters, you can see like certain parts of their body or weapons type, you can see that it's similar to the characters, so you can kind of tell like who's who in like this trailer. But like, yeah, that's just like a bunch of things I wanted to talk about in terms of like, you know, the actual like story. I think there's a lot going on in the story, and I can't wait to really just like play the story and just like see what happens, bro. Because like, I really hope that they get done with the timeline stuff, because I think the time stuff, it can get played out if it's not in too many games. I feel like 2 games is more than enough. I think they should move on with a new stick, because like, it's gonna get boring, you know what I mean? And like with them being able to, they have an out here where they can get out of the timeline stuff with the Kami Dogus being inside Havoc's chest, which I think is gonna happen. Like, I think that's what's gonna happen in the story. So that's just my opinion on it. Like, what did you guys think about all the stuff that I brought up, like in the questions that I have? Like, I think it's just interesting how they packed so much into this trailer, and basically this gave me so many more questions to try and figure out, and like how I would go about it, and just like what I'm expecting from the game. And you know, it's just sick, dude. Like I like trailers like this. Like they just know how to knock out the park with these type of trailers, just story trailers, especially like this DLC trailer. Like it looks really sick. Obviously, like the combat pack, I'm okay with it. Like I'm not exactly like pumped about a lot of the characters. Like I'm pumped about Noob Saibot and having Sector and Cyrax return to in some degree. You know, Ghostface, obviously he had to come back at some point. He had to come at some point because like he was always, I think he was hinted back in MKS in like 2015. Like he was definitely hinted for a while. It's just weird that he got him in this game instead of MKS. Like I felt like he would have fit perfectly in MKX, but it is what it is. You know, they've had serial killers that appeared in the game by themselves, like Mortal Kombat 9 with Freddy Krueger. So like obviously I think that's kind of like the route they took and why they took it that way. But this was interesting. Like this is just a bunch of things that I seen and I thought was interesting to share. Just let me know your guys' opinion in the comment section below. Obviously I'm going to be replying back to everybody, and just I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the matter. Thank you guys for checking out this video, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'm out. Peace.
Please fill my cup. Am I really asking for much? It's been a long week, I'm looking for fun. Please fill my cup. Find me under the sun. SOS, I'm just looking for a good time. Whoa.